was it about Barry and Brown and summer workouts when you've seen a little bit that kind of gets you excited?
Just his explosiveness, and even just in the 7-on-7 and kind of OTA work we done, his just change of direction and his just playmaking ability is already pretty special. And he made some flashes even just today in his first practice, and we're looking forward to seeing him continue to develop throughout the summer, leading up to the first week.
Looking at the wide receiver group as a whole, a lot of young talent. What do you see out of those young guys, and how quickly are they learning the system that you guys are?
I think they saw the opportunity with the hole that was left after last year of the guys that went on, and just the lack of experience we had. They knew that they were going to be able to compete and have opportunities to show that they can be players for us. And but other than that, what I've been most impressed of has been just Coach Woody's and the whole room's ability to just kind of learn from each other and buy into the whole team's philosophy, and like not really get too competitive and just use it as just a motivation to get each of themselves better as players, which I've really appreciated. And I mean, we got guys across the board, and I really like our depth at the position for sure.
You and Rich both talked in the spring about how your guys' connection really clicked right when you got here watching film. How has that continued, and how will that kind of continue to grow here in fall camp, just you and Rich?
Yeah, I think just as he kind of sees me take reps in practice and understands how my brain works, I think he already has a good idea of that, and understands how I'm able to see things and how to put me and teach me in the best way possible to help me get through whatever play we're talking about. And it's just going to get better with experience, just like I'm just going to get better with the more reps I can get within this offense and just as a quarterback in general. But that's what I think makes him pretty special. I think that he's able to coach all of us on an individual level differently, kind of based on how we're able to each process things individually, which has been really cool to see.
Well, how good could this tight end room be?
Really good, really good. We've just been mixing in a bunch of guys. We don't have like a kind of set like 1, 2, 3, 4 like depth chart. We have like 4 or 5 guys that we can rely on and are able to do all the things we ask them to. I think it's going to be more so figuring out which guys are the best at the certain things that we need for them to do, whether it's different routes or different blocking opportunities. But I mean, we got personnel sets with 2, 3 tight ends in at a time, and you can only do that if you have the guys on the roster to be confident enough to put them out in the field. So I really like where we're at with the tight ends, and they just got to keep working, and definitely going to be a big part of the offense this year.
Will, how would you compare day one of camp last year to day one today?
I think that the biggest difference between last year and this year is that this year we've been able to have more opportunities on field, both on field and in meetings with the coaches throughout the summer, with the new rules and the ability to go out there and do 7-on our own. I feel like even though we had the spring with the offense, we still would have been in a good spot going into the first day of camp, but like we just were ready to just kind of get rolling as soon as we stepped on the field. There was no kind of learning curve for any of us. All of us knew exactly what was going to be asked of us. We had the scripts. We knew what type of plays, what installs would be going in for that for this first few days of practice, and I feel like we've been ready to go for a while now, and the guys just put it all together and did a good job on their first day. Coach Stoop said it was his best first day in however many years he's been here, and I'd say it's hard to disagree with. I don't know how the years before me went, but it was definitely better than last year.
Well, Coach Stoop said that you're tough
On yourself, so he doesn't worry about you getting the big head. Why are you so tough on yourself?
I mean, you got to be your number one supporter, number one person who's confident in you, but you also got to be your number one critic. You're the only one who knows why you make the decisions you did or what you're capable of physically, and you have to judge yourself on your performance based on what you know about yourself. Nobody can tell you anything about yourself. They're not you. They don't go through the same things you do each and every day. So, I mean, if I keep that same mentality of both having the utmost confidence in myself, telling myself and being my number one supporter, but then also being the one to give myself honest, constructive criticism, I feel like I can just improve and be better one way or the other by being both of those types of people for myself.
Well, because there's not a proven backup quarterback, have they asked you or sort of instructed you to be careful with some of the running? Can you do that once you get in the game, or are you just going to be here?
Yeah, I'm just going to let my instincts take over for sure. I know that my body and my health to this team is more important than anything else, and I'm definitely not like a traditional prototype quarterback with what I'm able to do in the run game and what I'm able to do physically. And I know that there's opportunities where I can use that to my advantage, but it's more so just a matter of knowing when the risk is worth it and definitely looking forward to sliding a little more this year. So.
That you have such depth at the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year we're just so much deeper this year than last year at all positions, not just tight end. But I mean, it's just confidence in the guy's ability. If one guy goes down or one guy needs a breather, I'm never really thinking like, hey, I got to stay away from giving this guy a chance, you know? Like, especially through camp, I'm looking forward to having confidence in all the guys, regardless of who's in, and giving them opportunities to make plays. I think that's one thing that I need to kind of keep a focus on throughout camp is figuring out who our dudes are and letting them make those contested catches. And we saw some guys make some awesome plays today, and we just got to keep doing that, keep feeding our dudes, and see who's able to do what.
You spent some time with Tim Tebow. You spent some time with Tim Tebow. And what were your conversations with them? I know you looked at yourself as being as physical like him. Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, most people I've talked to about that, they'll tell me to kind of not be as physical, like slide more and protect myself. He kind of took the opposite approach. He was telling me the story about, I think, against Florida State. You know, that game where he came up and he had that, like, all the red all over him, and he was just like one of those classic pictures of him in his career. But he said it was like a 3rd and 15. He like rolled out, just lowered his shoulder, like just demolished a dude, fell forward for the first down. And he said that his favorite feeling in his career always was getting picked up by his offensive linemen, because it's like just the dudes who you try to earn their respect by how you treat them and how you operate as a unit, and you know that that they got love in their hearts for you when they're willing to chase down and get everyone away from you and pick you up every time. So I mean, it's just little things like that. You don't, like, as a quarterback, you're not supposed to do those things. You're not supposed to be physical. You're not supposed to have the body to be able to do those things. So you're in a unique position that when you do that, it brings a little more hyper energy than really any other position can to the team. So there's definitely some positives to it, and it's an attribute of mine that I'm very proud of and that I'm going to continue to use smartly and effectively. But it was cool to hear someone who's been through the same thing I have talk about that.
We got time for a couple more. We'll start with Brett.
Well, you're obviously going into this with a little uncertainty about Chris's situation. What do you feel about the rest of that running back group, and what do you want to see from them?
Yeah, whoever's going to be, they're going to be able to contribute for us. And like I said, we have depth at all positions. Not only depth, but we have great experience at the running back position as well. I think the young dudes like Levis have stepped up and really took a just passion for learning this system and knowing that they could get more opportunities this year. I mean, the additions of Ramon and we have depth all across the board and great experience, and I think getting them involved in the passing game too is going to be something I'm looking forward to. I got a lot of them catches in the spring, and looking forward to just feeding them the rock throughout camp.
Alex?
As many changes on the offensive line as you've had, particularly on the blind side, how does that influence what you do as a quarterback and what you attempt to do?
It doesn't. It can't really. Yeah, it can't change my thought process at all. If I'm thinking about who's in an offensive line or what's going on, then that's just one more thing I have to put on my plate, and I really just have to use my instincts and just feel in the pocket to understand when things are breaking down or when there are moments where I might need to be escaping or moving up. But I have full confidence in our unit, and no matter who's up there, if they're the #1 players in the country, they're still going to get beat every so often. You're going to have to rely on those instincts and be able to move in the pocket and step up and make those throws. So it's just something you can't really think about.
Alex?
You had the chance to golf with Tim Couch. What was that experience like? What did you gain from that round?
Yeah, that was great. I talked to Tim a few times, and we'd been talking about wanting to get out on the course, and we finally did. For one, I mean, I think I'm in pretty good shape, but he put me to shame like that. That was one thing I took away from it for sure. But no, he's been in the position that I'm in now, and to kind of pick his brain about how to kind of approach the process and focus on what really matters, focusing on the team and not really thinking about any of the individual stuff, which I think I've done a great job of. But other than that, just being someone for me that I can just kind of know I can reach out to and just talk to, whether it's about football or anything else. And that's what I really appreciated about him and the time I had with him, above all else.
Nobody.
Tim's a good golfer. He beat me. I mean, I'm like an 18. He's like a 7 or an 8. So He didn't play his best round. I had a birdie before he did, so that was good. But
Nobody tell Tony we were going to sneak in 2 more. Dominique first.
cool.
Well, obviously the team's been outspoken about the goals of trying to win the SEC. You guys picked behind Georgia. You played in that game last year. Just from your vantage point, what does it take to try to close the gap and get to where you guys want to be?
I think it's just consistency. I think we showed flashes of being able to put drives together and put sequences of plays together against them. But I mean, we can't really just focus on just them. We gotta just take care of business and trust our development as a team. Be as physical as possible, because you know that a team like them is always going to punch you in the mouth. But if you punch them in the mouth back, that's how you gain respect, and that's how you keep things. You keep the edge on your side, and we just got to come in with a positive attitude and just utmost confidence in our ability. Like, we have the guys. It's not like we are unmatched on a talent level. Like, we have the dudes to go up against those teams and beat them, and we just need to believe that, trust in our coaches, and execute the game plan.
Last one, Keith.
With all you've been through this summer with NIL, the way the season went last year, I mean, I'm not sure I could handle everything at my age. How are you doing that? And who do you rely on to help you with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, first and foremost, my parents have been a great resource for me to just debrief with and talk to and get their opinions. I value their opinions as much as anyone else in this world, and they've been able to help throughout that process. And in terms of NIL, I mean, I've just had fun with it. I just want to make sure that I'm not spending too much time on it, and I've kept the mindset of football first, and as long as I'm doing everything and keeping in mind that my actions are in line with the goals that we have as a team, and I don't mind taking that extra hour or two a week of free time I have to work on those other things. But yeah, I mean, it's a matter of staying scheduled, having a good time management. I had to just booked Google Calendar like all summer, it seemed like, but it was exciting, and I needed to know that I had to leave myself some time for me and to just relax and not worry about anything, whether it's football or that other stuff. But most importantly, keeping football at the forefront of my mind.
Thanks, everybody. We'll let
Thanks,
Will
guys.
skate first, and then we'll let everybody else know.